Hey everybody, and good Tuesday evening to you. For most of us, it was kind of a back to work, back to school, back to the routine kind of a day after the long holiday weekend. And the weather was just sort of blah today. In fact, it was a rather cool day at the Youngstown Warren Airport today. The high was just 72. This makes it the coolest afternoon high we've had since June the 20th. So it's been a little while since we've had a day like today. A little preview of things to come later this season, that is for sure. And yeah, it's kind of looked like this for a lot of the last several hours in Youngstown. This is our camera overlooking 680 near South Avenue, and light rain and drizzle and just kind of a pesky mist. That's been with us now for a little while. It'll probably continue for at least a little while this evening. Wanted to zoom out and take a look at the country as a whole because a big weather story is the heat in some places that typically aren't this hot. Now, San Francisco, California is a place that you don't exactly think of as a hotbed of heat, if you will. But they are in the mid-80s in the middle of the afternoon, officially at the airport location there. But around the San Francisco Bay, triple-digit heat, very, very common. Down towards Los Angeles, again, away from the immediate coast, just broiling, record-shattering heat in a lot of not only California, but Nevada, Utah, parts of Idaho. The Intermountain West is just baking this evening, rolling blackouts due to the high energy consumption out there in parts of California. All right, let's do something we haven't done in a while, and that's talk about the tropics. We have a couple of named systems across the Atlantic Basin. This is Earl. This is well east of the U.S. This is not going to be a problem for the U.S., and eventually Earl will take a track off to the kind of north and east through the open Atlantic and may even strengthen to a major hurricane as it encounters some warmer than average waters across the northern Atlantic. Earl is presently a tropical storm, but certainly will try to become a hurricane before all is said and done. Off to the north then, this is Danielle, which is a Category 1 hurricane, and moving off to the east-northeast at 7 miles per hour. Now, Danielle's track just has it kind of wobbling around and then probably dissipating as it encounters some less favorable conditions later this week, way up in the northern Atlantic. So the good news with the tropics in the Atlantic, no threats to the U.S. anytime real soon. We're getting close to the peak of Atlantic hurricane season coming up here in a little less than a week, just a handful of days. Back here at home, well, it's going to be a damp couple of hours this evening. I think the skies will try to clear some overnight, and then I think there will be more in the way of sunshine for our Wednesday. Now, it's not exactly a great day. We're not going to put this in the top 10 list for the year, certainly, but more in the way of sun, smaller chance of pesky wet weather, maybe a sprinkle or a shower here and there, but that's about it. Overall, just a more seasonable day. And then a little fog can try to set up later tomorrow night into Thursday morning as the wind goes calm and the sky does completely clear in most of the area. This could be a foggy start to the day in parts of the area, but once we lose any fog on Thursday, beautiful afternoon coming up, and we've got great weather in store for Friday as well. And we're really on a roll now as far as weather for high school football so far this season, and looks like week 4 will be no exception. Interesting, we're into that time of the year that the averages are dropping fast. We go from an average high of 78 on tomorrow's date to 74 in 10 days. Those were the 30-year averages. The actual forecast is a pretty warm one later this week and at the start of the weekend. I think we'll get into the lower 80s. A little bit of a cool down then as an upper low starts to meander through early next week, knocking us back into the mid-70s. After that, though, it seems pretty likely that we'll see a modest warm-up again towards the end of next week. Let's talk about the longer range briefly, and I mean the longer range. As you know, our annual winter forecast is still several weeks away. Now, the Farmer's Almanac has been out for some time now, and it's always that time of the year that I get a lot of questions. What do you think about that Farmer's Almanac? They're calling for a bad winter. Well, folks, the Farmer's Almanac has a bad winter in the forecast every year. That's what sells books. And Farmer's Almanac, again, I've been ranting about this for years, but fun book, lots of great stuff in it, fun anecdotes, stories, tips, fun astronomy stuff in there. But what you don't want to use the Farmer's Almanac for is a long-term weather forecast. There's really very little, if any, science behind it. Our science-based winter forecast comes out as we get deeper into the fall season, usually last week of October or into the first few days of November. And what I'm showing you here this evening graphically is hot off the press is the freshest edition of the European modeling for the winter season. This is December, January, February. And this map kind of looks familiar. This is kind of what the model system was depicting for last winter at about this time, because the overall atmospheric ingredients may not be that much different heading into this winter, because we have La Nina again. This will be the third La Nina in a row in the Pacific Basin, and La Nina, of course, can influence weather patterns across North America in the winter season. Now, there's a lot else to look at, but from a base state perspective, our background state, if you will, is for another La Nina. So it's no surprise that the temperature map on the model kind of looks like it did at this time last year, with maybe cooler than average conditions favored in Alaska, parts of Canada, a lot of the U.S. warmer than the average. Now, last winter turned out to be a little bit cooler than the models depicted in the northern tier of the U.S., and a little warmer than expected across parts of the southern U.S., especially out west. So, this is far out. We're only in early September, but just a little taste of things to come. Again, our annual winter forecast is about 7 or maybe even 8 weeks away, so we'll have a lot more information to look at between now and then. But it's interesting that we haven't had many triple dip La Nina winters. In other words, 3 La Nina winters in a row. It's been since the late 90s and early 2000s since we've had that play out. So we don't have a big sample size to look at in recent history as far as what happened in the third year of a triple dip La Nina. It's going to make for a challenging winter forecast. So again, that's coming later in October, probably right around Halloween into the first week of November. In the meantime, thanks for watching tonight's weather for Weather Geeks. Let's do it again on Wednesday.